Thousands of educators flooding Raleigh with a clear message: better pay and more school funding. From the triad to the triangle, teachers.
We are not going to stop until our state is funded, our kids are taken care of, and things get so much better.
And students.
Public education did not just shape me, it made me who I am today.
Fighting for more investment into the next generation of scholars.
People over billionaires, and if we don't get it, shut it down!
WFMY News 2's live team coverage starts now. Educators from the mountains to the coast, from right here in the Triad, spent the day in Raleigh calling for higher pay and more investment in public education. Thanks for joining us. I'm Tanya Rivera. I want you to check out the sea of red that took over our state capitol today. There were thousands of educators. Organizers say this is one of the biggest teacher demonstrations since the Red for Ed movement back in 2019. Educators say they're frustrated with staffing shortages, classroom funding, and teacher pay statewide. Right now, we have live team coverage of the teacher rally in Raleigh. WFMY News 2's Ben Briscoe, Manning Franks, and Kevin Kennedy have been there for the entire event, talking with teachers and parents and supporters. Let's start with WFMY News 2's Kevin Kennedy.
Yeah, Tanya, you can't tell right now behind me. It is empty right now, but I'm going to tell you right now, earlier this afternoon, this Halifax Mall here out in downtown Raleigh was packed with educators. More than 10,000 educators, most likely here from estimates earlier, many of them wearing red and waving signs. Their message was simple. They simply want to get more public dollars put into the public education system. The theme was basically kids over corporations. Now, right now, North Carolina ranks towards the bottom when it comes to teacher salaries. The average salary, around $60,000. Educators want to see more of that funding going to public education classrooms, dollars that will actually benefit not only the teachers, but the kids. Earlier today, I spoke with two teachers and a parent. All agree more money is needed. They want that money to go into the public classrooms.
I am all about public schools, I'm all about our students, and I'm all about us receiving the funding that we need for our schools and our students. And we are here so we'll make sure we'll get those tax breaks so that we don't get the tax breaks for the corporations, to make sure they can get those funds put into our public schools.
We are trying as hard as we absolutely can to develop our next generation of leaders in my community and in your community. And we are not being supported. We're not given the resources that we need to do that. The expectations that are put on teachers right now are impossible. We are doing our absolute best, but we need more from our communities and we need more from our state government.
We have fantastic teachers. We have fantastic teachers that have been putting out phenomenal students, and once we begin losing that retention of our teachers, that outlook is bleak for me. I think that no matter your status and your privilege, we need to ensure that each child has access to not just a great school, but a great educator.
Yeah, the budget here in North Carolina right now sits at about $36.9 billion. That's a large amount. Educators, though, say that could actually grow more if we do away with some of those tax cuts that those corporations are getting. That money, those dollars, could then go to schools and fund teacher salaries. We're live in Raleigh. Kevin Kennedy, WFMY News 2.
A big message for today is that teachers are asking for that better pay. The national average salary for teachers is $74,000. Our state, the average, well below that. A new report shows that the average salary in North Carolina is expected to drop under $60,000 next school year. That would put us in 46th in the nation for teacher pay. A big part of the issue, the lack of a state budget.
We see educators who have left the classroom, leaving the profession. We see larger class sizes. We see schools having to fundraise and do GoFundMes in order to meet basic classroom needs, such as copy paper or pencils or crayons. And so every moment that we continue to allow no investment in our public schools, we'll continue to see it impact the academic success of our children.
Right now, WFMY News 2's Ben Briscoe is with supporters that showed up from all over the state.
There were thousands of people out here from the mountains to the Manio, but people who are not here, the General Assembly, they weren't actually in session today. However, some lawmakers did leave signs on their windows just like this for the teachers, like this one that says fund public schools, another that says we love our teachers, tax corporations, tax the rich. Each one of the people who came out here hoped to get their message across to the lawmakers. Here's a little bit of what they had to say.
Really important for us to organize and show our power and to say we deserve more.
It's time to make some changes. Enough is enough.
They're, favoring tax cuts for the wealthy over valuing the education of our students.
I think our pay scale is bananas. I think it's just ridiculous what they're expecting us to live off of.
State legislature has been failing our public schools by not appropriately funding so that we can have things like social workers and nurses in every school.
The things our kids really need, even our gen ed friends need some of these services that they're just not being provided in our district because the funding simply isn't there. So we're here today to really get that funding for those kiddos because they deserve it. They deserve a well-funded public education.
My school needs AC and they can't afford it right now.
Your school doesn't have AC?
Yeah, sometimes in the summer. Last year we had to take 2 days off.
Because teachers are the future. We are the ones that are teaching the students for them to be better later on in life, and I feel like we are undervalued. The students' education is undervalued, and it's just time for a change.
While most of the lawmakers were not here, leaving signs like this instead, we did spot a couple from the Triad who came down to listen to the protest and the demonstrators. Hear their reaction coming up on WFMY News 2 at 5.
So much of the rally focused on money, and with that in mind, the Winston-Salem-Forsyth County School Board of Education said 16% of staff had called out, leading them to cancel classes. The day off also canceled dozens of field trips, which were already paid for. The district says 35 of today's trips are impacted. It's not clear whether or not that these field trips will be refunded or rescheduled.
It sickens me to think that children are going to lose their opportunity to take a field trip and get to experience something. I mean, it's one of our priorities that we talk about exposure and how if kids could see different things, then they have an opportunity to see what's out there and how that can change the course of their life. And now we're talking about missing it for a day that the legislature is not even in session.
Raleigh was the only one to vote against canceling classes. The district will now have to extend the school year. The last day will now be May 27th. And lawmakers, of course, some of them were questioning the timing of the rally for today as well.
I think everybody anticipates the budget won't be voted out before the middle of June. They could easily do that. They could also come during the week. They could come on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. But instead, they've chosen a day that wraps into a 3-day weekend. So given all the circumstances, plus, parents have to find childcare.
So I applaud the teachers for organizing, putting this together, and hopefully they'll have a good crowd and they have a good turnout. Unfortunately, on Friday, we're not here on Friday, so I wished it was a better day. There will be some staff members here, and there may be a few people here from the speaker's office that they might be able to, and they can leave things in our office because our staff members will be here.
From Forsyth County this morning, Manning, that gave you a lot of time to talk with them.
Yeah, for those of you who have been following us all throughout the morning, you know that I had the opportunity to ride with the Forsyth County Educators Association in their buses that they had going from Winston-Salem to Raleigh for the rally that we had here that took over the downtown area. Now, on that bus ride, I met 4 Walkertown EC teachers who say cuts and underfunding strongly impacted their students. Now, the 4 friends have more than 40 years of teaching experience between them. Now, some of them even took part in the 2019 march. But for each one, they say the mission today was simple and universal. They marched not only for their schools, but for their classrooms, where they say a lack of proper funding could mean losing specific programs and services.
This is not only affecting the regular students. The EC students are being very well affected because we need funding for them. And if the funding is not there, their services are gone, like the IEP, you know, and all of the extra services that they need, you know, we need funding.
Now, supporters, however, weren't just limited to the sea of educators moving through Raleigh streets. For the parents of those EC students who couldn't make the trip, the Walkertown teacher says their support was still felt through signs made for the Walkertown teachers to carry with them.
Yesterday morning, one of my students and her mom came in, and the three of us, Ms. Caldwell, Ms. Verdell, and I, were sitting in the cafeteria waiting for our kids, and they came up to us and handed us this, and we were like, oh my gosh, you know, they're so supportive, all our parents are.
Now, of course, they already headed back to Winston-Salem. They've gotten on that bus and they are heading back. And one of the things that I heard a lot from speaking with both them and other teachers is that they hope through all of this we can at the very least, get a budget passed for the state of North Carolina. Live here in Raleigh, I'm Manning Franks, WFMY News 2.
Well, thousands of people showed up for the rally, and you can hear the speeches, be part of it all. We have a special hour on WFMY Plus right now. Just download Plus on your TV and watch for free.